Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I have a bit of an echo, give me a second. There you go, that should be better. Welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Today is Friday, June the 18th, so hopefully you guys have had a great trading week so far and a good weekend ahead of you as well. So my name is Becky. Today I don't have the camera so you can actually see my name and email address here. My email address is becky@tradictive.com. Now you also have this link here which I'll show you in a second, but before we do that let's just cover the disclaimers because they'll need to be covered here. There we go, they're being highlighted at the top there. Now of course disclaimers are there for legal reasons, but of course also a good thing for you guys to understand these kind of videos are demonstrations. So we explain what we do and how we do it. It's up to you to take it on board if you like, or to ignore it entirely if you want, or something in between. Either way, it's up to you as to what you think is best as an individual trader. So before we crack on and go into the 3D market commentary, I'll just take you to this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. So I was saying you can email me if you have any questions, but I'd prefer that you come to this route, and I'll tell you why. So once you've come to this link, you can get yourself a free Trade with UFOs membership. With that, by the way, you get recordings of the sessions that we do, reminders of the sessions that we do, the odd sort of discounts here or there. But most importantly, once you've got your free membership, you can come down here and you can ask questions in a public space. What that means is that I can then answer it in a public space. So if you come down here a little bit, you'll see these are questions that other people have asked and they have answers attached. So if you have a question, it may be that somebody else has already asked it, in which case you have the answer there. Or it may be that the question you have is a new question, in which case you're doing somebody else that favour later down the line. So ideally, this is where you'd come to ask questions so that everyone else in the community can learn. If not, you can, of course, email me. Now, on this link as well, you can book one-to-one coaching with me if you'd like, but the main priority of this is to get yourself that free membership and ask questions publicly. Okay, so let's get into the 3D market commentary. So we send out this news flash every day, has information on 5 of the major markets in the world, and it's called a 3D approach because we're looking at 3 separate elements. So these are 3 elements that we look at. First things first is market climate, upcoming market direction. Essentially, where do we have probabilities? Do we have probabilities up, in which case we buy or go long? Do we have probabilities down, in which case we'd look to sell or go short? Or do we not have enough probabilities either way? So that's the first question we should always be asking ourselves as traders. Should we be buying, selling, or doing nothing? So that's the first thing we look at. We get the answer to that question from this app down here. It's called AutoClimate. It's a free app. You can download it for free. Once you've got your free Trade with UFOs membership, you can follow the steps to download AutoClimate on whichever relevant platform you use. Now, I want you to ignore the lines for now and we'll just focus on these dots. These dots are the things that answer that question. So if it's a thick red dot, for example, that tells us probability downwards, we should probably be looking to sell. If it's a thick blue dot, for example one of these, that tells us probability upwards, we should probably be looking to buy. If it's a thin dot of either colour, and it's kind of hard to see, but if it's a thin dot of either colour, like any one of these, that tells us not enough probabilities either way, in which case do nothing. So that question is answered for us. So we'll look at that per market, per of the 5 markets we go through. The second question is, if I'm going to buy, where am I going to buy? And if I'm going to sell, where am I going to sell? That's where our buy and sell UFOs come in. UFO stands for unfilled orders, and essentially, again, we're using an app, we're using technology here to highlight for us exactly where we have buyers waiting and where we have sellers waiting. If it's a green UFO, that tells us there are buyers there. If it's a red UFO, that tells us there are sellers there. Now why is that helpful? Because if we want to buy, we want to buy around prices where there's lots of other buying. It's much more likely to beat the sellers and push price upwards. If we want to sell, then we want to sell around the prices where there's lots of selling, because more likely to beat the buyers and push price down. And that's what we want to happen if we sell. So we use this app, we use this piece of technology to help us figure out exactly where we're going to buy and sell. Rather than just buy and sell at random whatever the price is now, we're buying and selling where we have greater probability of it going in our favour. And again, we're using the technology here to help us with that. And then the third thing we're going to look at is market volatility. Essentially, how quickly are these markets moving? What can we expect for the next day, week, or month? Okay, so that's the three things that we go through, and we look at 5 markets. So let's start with the first market, which is the S&P. Now, the S&P 500 is a basket of the top 500 US stocks, and we are using the ES here. So the ES is the futures contract that represents the S&P. If you don't understand anything that I said just then, understand we are looking at a representation of US stocks. That's what we're looking at here. Now, with the S&P, we have a confirmed downwards climate. Thick red dot there, probability downwards, meaning we should be looking to sell. Now, usually this market goes down for 2.96 candles, so let's call that 3, let's round that up. Goes down for 3 candles, and we're on candle number 2. So based on what usually happens, we'd probably see another movement to the downside for the next day or so. Of course, it could go past that. We have, of course, had situations where we go past what's usual, but it gives us an idea of what's more likely to happen, right? If it happens more consistently or more usually, then we'll go with that. Now, one thing that may get in the way of this is that we have buy orders just here that we've literally just touched. 41.85 to 41.42.50. Now, these buy orders had already worked at this point to push price upwards. Price came somewhere into that stack of buy orders and went up from there. That's what we expect buy orders to do, is push price up. And price has come back into them now. So if those buy orders work, then they'll push price upwards. However, we have selling pressure. If we change the colour here, we have selling pressure coming in from the climate. So we have buying pressure literally here, roughly where we are right now, and we have selling pressure here at the same place. What that means is there's a fight going on at the moment, a fight that I don't want to be involved in. I want to see who wins and then jump on that bandwagon. If we try and get involved and try and guess which side is going to win, you can bet you're probably going to be wrong. So for me, I would rather make sure that I'm buying where I have probability up with the climate and probability with the UFOs at the same place. If I'm selling, I want to be selling where I have probability with the climate and probability with the sell UFOs at the same place. If they're conflicting and competing against each other, I would keep away. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, volatility. We would expect in 1 year that the S&P would move up or down 17.79%, which means in a day, moving up or down of 47.14 points. In a week, it's up or down of 103.78 points, and in a month, up or down of 216.04 points. So that's the S&P. Overall, like I said, competing forces, I'd keep away from it for now. Now, let's move on to the next market, which is going to be oil. In the meantime, it says there about looking to educate yourself. It also says about the UFOs there. So we have different courses that you can do in different things: futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans, psychology. Now, the cool thing about these courses, first of all, they're obviously very good courses and they help you to understand these different things. But they also, most of them, come with 3 months complimentary access to the UFOs. Now, you could just subscribe directly to the UFOs if you like. You don't have to take a course in order to have the UFOs. You can subscribe directly. Now, depending on which platform you use, depends on the cost of the AutoUFOs. If it's TradingView, like the one we're using here, then that's $34 per month. Now, the good thing about the courses that come with 3 month complimentary access to the UFOs is that they might be a one-off fee of $34 or a one-off fee of $89. So if you do the maths on that, you get cheaper access to the UFOs for the first 3 months by taking a course. So it's actually cheaper to do a course and get the UFOs than it is for the first 3 months to just go straight to the UFOs, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's carry on with oil. So oil has, oh, I didn't change, I changed it to gold, not oil. I was wondering why that didn't seem to sync up. There we go. There we go. Okay, so oil has a confirmed upwards climate, probability upwards, thick blue dot there, probability up. Usually it would go up for 6.47 candles. Let's round that up and call that 7. And we're on candle number 18, which means we've gone way past what's normal in terms of a move to the upside, which tells us that it's less likely to keep happening. The longer something goes past what is a usual thing to happen, the less likely it is to keep doing it, just in general. So same thing here with the markets. In fact, we are starting to see price roll over a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that climate change to perhaps an unconfirmed climate on Monday, but of course we'll see. Now we do have buy orders beneath us, so perhaps they might kickstart this climate again. So we have buy orders 68.87 to 65.25. So if price was to come down and hit these buy orders, we would expect that they would push price back upwards. So overall, still probability up in oil. We still have a climate up and we still have buy orders close by. So overall probability upwards. Just bear in mind it doesn't have as much probability as we'd like because it's already gone way past what's normal in terms of a move upwards. Now in terms of volatility, we'd expect in a year that oil would go up or down 36.84%, which means in a day up or down of 1.36 points, in a week up or down of 3.59 points, and in a month up or down of 7.47 points. So that's oil. Okay, let's move on now to the next market, which is gold. So let's put gold on there. There we are. And we'll squidge it down a bit so we can see both our UFOs. Great. So with gold, kind of not surprising, I guess, to tell you this, looking at the chart, we have a confirmed downwards climate. Thick red dot there, probability downwards, which means that we should be looking to sell gold. Now, oh, by the way, I should have said this at the start, we're looking at daily charts for each of these markets. Different things happen on different time frames, so of course things might be different if you're looking at a 5-minute chart or a monthly chart. The things that we are looking at here are relevant to daily charts. So, confirmed downwards climate here with gold. Now, usually this market would go down for 6.29 candles. Again, I'm going to round that up to 7. So usually goes down for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 5, which means probability that it continues down at least for the next couple of days. Now, buy and sell UFOs, we have sell orders closer by, just newly formed there, 1866 to 1804.4, and then we have buy orders quite a way below us, which is 1652.8 to 1624.4. So what that tells us is that we have selling closer to us, we have a confirmed downwards climate, and we've got to go a while until we hit buy orders, which means overall probability down in nearly every way here for gold. Now, understand I'm using the word probability. Nothing is guaranteed in the markets. Of course, unexpected things happen, so we have to manage our risk just in case. But based on probabilities and statistics, this would have probability to the downside. And we don't want to do anything in trading unless we have enough probabilities one way or the other. Now, market volatility with gold, we would expect that in 1 year it would move up or down of 17.66%, which means in a day up or down of 19.94 points, in a week up or down of 43.89 points, and in a month up or down of 91.36 points. So that is gold. Let's move on to the next market here. Actually, before we do that, it says there about coaching and support. Of course, you're probably accessing this for free on YouTube or Facebook. So yes, we do them for free. We do many sessions for free, and you can access our coaching for free via those platforms. The content is actually the same as the content that we do inside our closed community. Our closed community is $21 per month. So you might think, well, what's the difference then if it's the same content? The difference is our closed community has access to more of our time in a closed environment. So in the sessions we do on YouTube or Facebook, we'll cut the stream somewhere about halfway through. Those that are part of our closed coaching community have access to the remainder of the session, another half an hour or so normally, and just in that smaller group, smaller session with us. So that's how that works. Okay, so let's look at the next market, which is the US dollar. Now the US dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every single day. So if you don't trade it, that's fine, but be aware of it because it will impact every other market we've looked at and then some. So the US dollar at the moment, confirmed upwards climate, thick blue dot there, probability upwards. No surprise considering we've seen this recently. Now usually this market would go up for 4.65 candles, so round that up to 5, and we are on candle number 5, meaning we have kind of reached the end of what would be a normal move to the upside. However, we have a little way to go before we hit sell orders. So the sell orders up here at 93.125 to 92.84. We have buy orders here at 90.64 to 90.31. I'm kind of in the middle there, a little bit closer to the sell orders. I wouldn't be surprised to see price move up and hit these stacks of sell orders before it changes direction. So for the time being, still probability up there with the US dollar. Now in terms of volatility, we expect that in 1 year, price would move up or down 5.37%, which means in a day, up or down of 0.31 points, in a week, 0.68 points up or down, and in 1 month, 1.42 points. Okay, so that's the US dollar. Let's go to the last market here, which is backed Bitcoin. Here we go. Now, Bitcoin's obviously had a big drop recently, and then it's had a little bit of indecision. It's now coming back into a downwards climate because we have a confirmed downwards climate. Thick red dot there, probability downwards. Now, we don't actually know how long this market usually comes down for. It's not old enough yet. We don't have enough data on a daily chart to say this usually happens or not. So we're kind of in the dark there. What we do know is that this is the first candle to the downside. So normally if it's the first candle to the downside or upside, probably got a little bit more probabilities that it continues from that point. Now in terms of buy and sell UFOs, we have buy orders here that if price were to hit these buy orders, we would expect price to go up. So these buy orders are from 33,785 to 31,000 even. We have sell orders here at 51,782.5 to 46,807.5. So at the moment, probability down there with Bitcoin until it hits this stack of buy orders, where we might not see a change of direction and continue down for a little while. Now, market volatility with Bitcoin in 1 year, we'd expect that it would move up or down 99.58%, which means in a day, moving up or down of 2,311.58. In a week, that's up or down of 5,088.71. And in a month, that's 10,593 points up or down. So it moves quite a lot more than the other markets. Not a good or bad thing, it's just a bit more volatile. Volatility can increase the risk, can also increase the reward. Another thing to look out for when it comes to volatility is this weekly economic calendar. We get it from FX Street, and we filter by high impact news. Essentially, we are looking for scheduled reporting that could come out and impact these markets. So for example, today being Friday, the Japanese yen this morning, very early in the morning, for US anyway, early in the morning, would have had news that could have affected Japanese markets, including the yen itself. So just be aware of these things. We don't look at the news because we interpret it, we look at the news to see whether or not we're likely to have volatility, and then make a decision from there based on how we feel about volatility as individual traders. Okay, so that's me done today in terms of the market commentary. If you have questions about the apps that we use, the coaching that we offer, the courses that we do, memberships, things like that, you can self-schedule a clarification call through that link, and you can speak to one of our experts and figure out what might work best for you, if anything. If you have any questions, you can email me, becky@tradictive.com, or go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, get yourself a free membership. Then you can come down and ask a question here in public, and I can answer it in public, or you can book one-on-one coaching with me if you'd like. Okay, so I will leave you guys to it. Hopefully you have a great end to your trading week and a lovely weekend ahead of you, and I will see you bright and